Hello everyone, and welcome to another vlog. Today I am at Toy Box Collectables in Vancouver, Washington, all laid out right behind me. And we'll go inside and see what they have in store for vintage toys. So come along with me and we'll go check it out. Okay, so when we first get inside, we see here that they have some of the older Batman Returns figures. You got a penguin here and Catwoman, of course, all the classic characters from Batman Returns. Let's see what's behind here. And you have Robin. But then they have WandaVision figures. They have some of the retro Batman figures. You got the Joker here. We saw this Batman with the trunks in the Target collectibles video, but they have that here. They have Bob the Goon, the classic Batman first movie figure, the 1989 figure. And speaking of which, they had Batman, of course. And then you have just general DC Comics superhero figures. You have the Riddler here. And then behind him, you have Lex Luthor, actually. Yeah, there you go. Don't see those that as often. The Lex Luthor figure. And then Robin behind that. So some of the classic DC Comics. If we go again, I just want to show behind Bob the Goon, we can get a better look at the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman figure. The best Batman, in my opinion, but I'm biased. He was the Batman in my childhood, so you know, maybe you tie it to that, but still a good Batman. And then more Batman figures here. You have a Karate Kid figure going back to that movie. More modern shows. You have Breaking Bad figures, and then of course classic Scooby-Doo figures. You have Fred and Scooby-Doo with a knight. You have Daphne with a mirror, of course. Wouldn't be complete without that. And then up here there's an Aliens figure from that movie and a Power Ranger. You'll notice there's just all these walls are filled with pretty cool collectible toys. Speaking of which, you have Danny DeVito, very detailed penguin figure here, and then a Batman kind of detailed figure there, and the Infinity Gauntlet just below. Of course, all these things are in a case. Some of these Marvel superhero toys, and I used to have this brand, but there's Captain America and Thor over here, and then some kind of more recent Marvel Universe and Hall of Fame toys like She-Hulk, and let's see what's behind here. You have, of course, speaking of Hulk, you have the Incredible Hulk. I actually used to have this figure back in the day, so that brings back some memories. And then this is a re-release of retro figures. You have Ant-Man, the Avengers figure here, Captain America, kind of a smaller scale figure, but a re-release of classic figures. You have Black Panther there, Loki, and the Incredible Hulk, the gray version over here. I wasn't familiar with that. I guess that was one of the versions of the Incredible Hulk. And I didn't quite see who that figure was, but more of the Kenner retro figures there. I really like this guy. Not sure who it is, but I like that one. And then, of course, it wouldn't be complete without Star Wars figures. You got R2-D2 here. Some of the Jedi pilots, and a lot more there. Of course, Darth Vader, very classic figure, and a detailed R2-D2 next to him. And then, again, detailed figures here in the case. You have Punisher and Batman. So pretty cool stuff overall in this section. I really do like. Here's a better look at the Danny DeVito penguin figure. I really thought that was cool from Batman Returns. Of course, no retro toy store will be complete without Masters of the Universe figures. So we have the various villains here, and of course, they're all kind of fantastical toys. Tila here and Stratos. Just below is a more recent Ninja Turtle. Not complete without that either. You have Tila over here. And then I remember this guy. This one over here as part of the He-Man figures. And then I always wanted one of these This isn't Castle Grayskull. I think that's on the other side, but this one looks very cool too. And the kind you open up, and it's where, of course, the villain ones are always more interesting than the superhero ones. You have Stridor, the He-Man horse figure, and then this room has even more collectibles behind glass cases. You'll notice it's filled with a lot of kind of very collectible figures from Star Wars, more comic books. You have Kevin McAllister over here behind some, or in front of some Breaking Bad figures. You have a hatching raptor, of course, very classic from Jurassic Park, with glow in the dark Godzilla behind that, and then a Triceratops there, again from Jurassic Park. You have a very detailed Johnny Depp Captain Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, and the Universal Dracula just near that. Again, very detailed figures, so behind cases, which makes sense. And then very retro He-Man figures. You have He-Man himself, and some of the various villains as part of that. You have She-Ra, Princess of Power, and then more He-Man and more of the unique sort of villains of the Masters of the universe. These were always very interesting toys, and it makes sense that they sold so well. You have a very detailed G.I. Joe, and then another older He-Man here, and then more G.I. Joes from back in the day. Let's see here. Detailed Marvel figures. You have Captain America here with his shield, of course. Punisher. It looks like another. Is that Bizarro Superman? And oh, look, we got another. This is actually even more detailed. Danny DeVito Penguin from Batman Returns. And then you have Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2. You have the Sky Escape Joker. I actually used to have this toy way back in the day with his helicopter. You have Batman, of course, as part of the Batman movies. And then that's a pretty cool Two-Face figure that they have here, the head of Two-Face. This is a really cool R2-D2. Pretty large size next to a very detailed lightsaber, and then a Darth Vader helmet and that box that he wears. And then there's Yoda and another Star Wars figure here, and then Baby Yoda, again very detailed figure, and these are pretty cool. Some Empire Strikes Back cases for the figurines, pretty cool. And then more of the older Star Wars figures. You see these in a lot of the retro toy stores, but gotta love those Ewoks. Those are classics. And then some more like Empire Strikes Back release of Stormtroopers and R2-D2. Made by Kenner. And then here's Chewbacca, of course, and Luke Skywalker and Yoda, C-3PO. So Princess Leia and Darth Vader, all the key figures you would want as part of that collection, but very cool nonetheless. And then this pretty giant Batman figure over here, again pretty detailed, and this is pretty interesting. It's Mary Jane Watson from the Spider-Man movies, so played by Kirsten Dunst. There's a figure of that there. This is a pretty large Kong figure. It looks like it, of course, the arms move and punch. And then if we look at this wall over here, still quite a few interesting toys, but we'll actually come back to that. This back section had some toys in packs. You got Marvel characters, kind of classic collectible cups. Of course, Darth Vader, Congo, the movie figures, X-Files figures. That's pretty cool. Nice little throwback. You have Mulder here. Next to some Star Trek figures and The Matrix. And then just a wall of kind of individual figures, not in their boxes, but still a pretty good variety nonetheless, including Mighty Max. That was a classic. I always wanted those as a kid. Never got them. And then you have a Jedi fighter's head next to Darth Vader. And then you have the Millennium Falcon as a Pez dispenser from the newer movies with BB-8. Some more, just you see like a very wide collection of figures here, including Power Rangers, uh, like I mentioned, Spider-Man, these collectible like uh, Star Wars prequel cups. Remember when McDonald's had these? This is a three caballeros. Like they had the figures in the VHS boxes. So they have Donald Duck in the three caballeros box. That was a pretty cool Happy Meal. You have Robin Hood as part of that, just without the box. Um, uh, and then you have Mr. Potato Head, of course, and Mrs. Potato Head. And then, as you can see, it's just a very it's kind of fun to just go through all of the many collectible toys they have individually there. But going back to this one, I'm going to see what else was behind Molder. Oh, it's another version of Molder. So you have a kind of casual Molder, and uh, there's the kind of more formal Molder. Some Star Trek toys. First Contact. I'm not as familiar with that one, but they have that as well. And let's see what else. Um, oh, this is pretty cool. It's a Death Star. Looks like a toy that opens up. Might be a case, but I don't want to mess it up, so we'll leave it like that. But that's pretty cool. And then you got a Batman Frisbee. I would have loved that back in the day. And then this wall, going back here, of course, has Ninja Turtles. Um, a lot of these figures, I think, like I had that crocodile, and then this version of Leonardo I used to have. So this takes me back. You have, of course, Raphael. All of them include their pizza, of course. You have to have that. And then you have some more G.I. Joe here, including kind of more, looks like, yeah, more retro figures. I never was a big G.I. Joe collector, but I know a lot of people were. So if you were, they have quite the collection throughout the years here, as you can see, including like anniversary versions of G.I. Joe. Got some more He-Man, kind of smaller figures like Master of the Universe. Smaller figures similar to the ones we saw earlier, the larger figures. These names are kind of hard to say for some of them, but of course, classic is Skeletor. So they have that. And kind of like unique figures just below as well as part of Masters of the Universe. I believe that's what all these are from, just below, like the vehicles from that. And then even more Ninja Turtles up here, including behind this skater one, there's Krang. I remember Krang from the cartoon, the early 90s cartoon. It was a weird villain, and they have that toy. And they have a samurai version of Leonardo there. I kind of remember that from back in the day. And of course, can't go without Splinter, the leader of the Ninja Turtles. So quite a robust Ninja Turtle collection there. And then this caught my eye. I remember my cousin and I used to have these Dick Tracy kind of like rubber figures. So you have Dick Tracy, again, all from the movie of the early 90s. You have Big Boy, Flat Top, Prune Face, Itchy. We used to have all of these, I remember. So that this kind of takes me back because we had these. And then no shortage, of course, there's more He-Man characters, including Mosquito. Forgot that one, but it makes sense. It's a giant mosquito. And then an interchangeable He-Man, another Skeletor, and I believe I want to say She-Ra or some version of that. So they have those there. And then that's always cool. He-Man's the whatever creature he was that he rode. Let me know in the comments if you remember. I'm struggling. And then you have, of course, Skeletor's Castle Grayskull. I always wanted this one. I thought it was so cool as a kid. So that's a classic one, of course. And then a lot of wrestling figures. I remember my cousins had these. They were big into these, including these figures of Hulk Hogan, kind of like the rubber figures. And they had the big ring they would go in. And you, of course, pretend to wrestle with those. And then they have quite a wall of Funko Pops. So quite the collection here, including like Warner Brothers and Disney. You have like Little Mermaid and Up. I like this guy. I'm not sure what he's from, but I like that one. And then some more figures here. Again, some behind cases, some on the wall. They have the Dapper Dans from the Disney parks, Didn't realize they had that one as its own Funko, but they have that pack. And this is cool. We have a Herman Munster Funko. This is the Hot Rod Herman version. But that's a cool one. I like that. Anything Munsters. They have Seinfeld ones. You have Jerry Seinfeld, Elaine, Newman. Of course, gotta have Newman. Some retro Disney Funkos. Including they have these from the rides, like It's a Small World Funko Pops. They had the different countries from It's a Small World. And yeah, quite a huge collection here of those. You got another Skeletor on his throne over here. Going back to that, and you have the Penguin from Batman Returns coming down in that giant duck vehicle. Very memorable from that movie. I hadn't seen that Funko Pop, but that was pretty interesting. And then these figures are kind of interesting. It's like retro figures of Barbie, and then you have Nightmare Before Christmas as well. And yeah, this is, if you look, it's just kind of, though it keeps going up all the way to the wall, all of these collectibles, including some of the Funko Rides and Funko Town options. You have a lot of DC figures here: Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman. I don't know what version of Batman that is, but it's kind of frightening. And then some Marvel figures here, including Captain America and Doctor Strange. And then even more figures, Marvel or comic figures here as well. Yeah, pretty cool. You got Toad, of course. You got a little Toad here. Some Nintendo figures. And some, of course, Star Wars, kind of larger Funko Pops. Very cool collection here. And then just below that, you have Captain Hook on the Peter Pan ride. I've always liked that one as part of the Disney World 50th releases. Kind of more like fantasy movies here. And this is pretty interesting. It's a Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. Looks like a thing. It looks like Mighty Max style. So those are always interesting. I really like this older Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse. They have Mickey Mouse through the years. They have like the 1980s here, the modern Mickey Mouse. So that's a pretty cool release. And then they have the Stranger Things kids as Ghostbusters. Very detailed figures, but a hit nonetheless. I thought that was from the new Ghostbuster movie for a second, but no, Stranger Things when they dressed up as that. And some more Star Trek items at the very top here. I'm kind of struggling getting all these top items. But as you can see, just many, many very interesting collectibles in this toy store. Very cool. It's definitely worth a visit. All right, well, that was actually some really cool stuff, and Will, the person who was working in there, is super nice, super accommodating to me with my filming, and very friendly guy. So I definitely recommend you come check out this toy store if you're into vintage toys, because got a really good collection here, and again, very nice staff. So definitely feel free to check this out if you're ever in Vancouver, Washington. And let me know what your favorite toy was here. I'm a little torn on mine. I don't know, it's hard to choose. I'll reply to myself in the comments because I just can't choose right now. There's so many cool ones. But anyway, let me know what your favorite was, and please subscribe to my channel and also to my comedy channel. Link is below. I do that with my cousin. We think we're funny, so check that out. But thanks again for watching. Check out this toy store if you're ever in the Washington or Portland area, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye bye.